So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I see some familiar faces. I really appreciate that you took some time from your very busy schedules to join us today on this dreary day. Very excited to introduce everybody to the library's new course reserves tool, also called Leganto. Before we get started, just a couple of quick housekeeping notes. First is we may not have time today to address specific questions about requests that you've placed or courses that you're working on right now. If you do have questions about a specific request or a course, you're more than welcome to reach out to the course reserves team at reserves@drexel.edu. Both Linda and Ashley are here with us today, and both of them are responsible for monitoring that email account, and they're more than happy to go over any questions that you have in detail. Okay. Second, we have a couple of different things to cover today. I want to make sure that we get to everything, as well as have time for questions at the end. So throughout the presentation, if you have questions, I welcome you to type them into the chat. And then once we're done, we'll go over everything at the end. Another note, we will be working in a test environment today to avoid confusing our hardworking reserves team who are at work preparing courses for the spring term. You may experience or we may experience some slowness in the system, but I just want to note that this is a function of the test environment and you shouldn't expect to experience this in the live environment. Of course. And then lastly, we will be recording today's session. Once it's over and everything is prepared, Stacy will be sending you a link to the session. You're more than welcome to share it with anybody who either wasn't able to join us today, will not be able to join us next month in our next session, or you just think would like to learn about what we talked about today. Okay, so that's the end of my little list of housekeeping items. So let's just dive straight into it. So again, I'm very excited to share with you our new course reserves tool, also called Leganto. Just a quick summary to make sure that we're all sort of on the same page as far as like what the system is and what it does. The library's new course reserves tool will be replacing the system that we currently use, which is called Aries. And again, this system is meant to help faculty members organize their required and suggested readings for their courses for their students, to put everything kind of in one spot, as well as make sure that everything that you're providing access to falls under appropriate copyright law. So why Leganto? Why did we decide to move from the current system to the new system? Well, I would say the biggest benefit is that in addition to integrating with Blackboard Learn, the system also integrates directly with the library's catalog, which means any request that you place for any item that is in our collection will be immediately added to your list, no processing time. So things will be available to your students much more quickly. Additionally, the user interface is just a little bit more user-friendly. And also there are additional features, for example, student engagement tools that will allow you to sort of see how your students are engaging with the materials that you have listed in the tool. So a couple of benefits. And then, like I said, just generally speaking, it's a little bit nicer to look at than Aries. So yes, so that is sort of the reasoning behind why we decided to migrate to Leganto. Hopefully, it will provide faculty members with a quicker and more user-friendly course reserves service. So I'm just going to dive right into how you can get started with the new system. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. And I want to make sure that I am sharing the correct screen. Here we go. Okay. Can everybody see my screen? Thumbs up. Are we good? Okay, cool. I see a thumbs up. Cool. Okay, so what we're looking at right here is the Blackboard, again, testing environment. So these are not real courses, although they look very real. For any of you who might be teaching any of these courses, I promise they're just test courses. Now, as I said earlier, the new system integrates with Blackboard Learn exactly the same way that the current system does. The only difference is the name of the link that you're going to choose. So I'm just going to walk you through the process for how you can link your course to the new system quickly. So for this example, we're going to use this course up here, HSAD 562. We're going to click on the course. And it will open up and you see it's just a very bare bones course. There's not a lot in here. To add the link to course reserves, we're going to come up here to the upper left corner, this little icon with the circle and the plus in the middle. We're going to scroll down to tool link. and a box will pop up and it will ask us to enter some information. The first thing it will ask us is to choose a name for the link. You can choose whatever name that you like. I can just say articles and videos okay? Under type, we're going to click this drop-down link, and we're going to be looking for Drexel Libraries Course Reserves. This is the name of the link that you're going to want. Click that. Now I'm going to click available to users. If you don't click this link, your students will not be able to see this link. And I'm going to hit submit. All right, and that's it. So your course is all linked up. But what we've done here is just establish a link to the system. There's no list of items yet. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to click the link. I'm going to just get rid of that guy. Okay, so if there's no associated list of materials with your course, this is the page that you'll see. And you'll see that there are a couple of different ways that you can create a list. You can either create a new one, you can copy an existing list, and down here at the bottom, you'll see this smaller option, ask your library to create your list. So if you click this link, it will send you to a very basic file upload page. You can send us a list of your syllabus and we'll enter everything for you. For those of you who are interested in taking advantage of this service, just note that it is a little bit time intensive. So if you want everything available for your students in advance of the term, I recommend that you do it maybe 2 weeks ahead of time, just to make sure that we have time to process everything and get in touch with you with follow-up questions, those sorts of things. But for today's example, we're going to create a new list. And you see here, we're going to be asked for some information to get us set up. The list name automatically populates from your course information, and you can just confirm down here what course it's linking to. You can add additional information if you would like. Hit next. So on this page, we're going to be asked to choose how we want to organize our list. Okay, the default organizational structure is term weeks. That's the way things are set up in either current system ARIES, so we thought it would be more familiar to faculty members. The default number of sections is 10 weeks. For those of you who teach according to the quarter system, that's fine. For those of you who teach semester courses, you can easily change this to 20 or 5 or however many that you like. For those of you who don't really see a lot of use in organizing your course reserves by term weeks, you can choose this drop-down button right here, and you can see that there's another option for required optional. I'll note here briefly that regardless of what you pick, you can choose this late. You can change this later, so don't worry about being tied down to this structure. We're going to stick with term weeks for now and hit create list. Okay, so here we go. This is your course reserve list. I'm going to take you on a brief tour of this page before we dive into how to place requests. And I'm just going to start at the bottom, start at the top and work my way down. Okay, so up here at the top, you can see that we have our course information and then, our course number. And then here, you see this list info link. I'm going to click this briefly to just draw your attention to, in addition to this information, this option down here, collaborators. Now, if you are working on this course with with another teacher, you're creating a master course that you think that many teachers will be using course reserve lists from, you're working with an instructional designer, you can give other people access to this list by this collaborators feature. And you can add anybody that you would like, a TA, a member of ITG, another teacher. As long as they're a member of the Drexel community, you can add them. So you can click here, Manage Collaborators. And to just show you what I'm talking about today, I'm going to add Linda as my collaborator. I'm going to hit Add Collaborator, and I'm just going to start typing her name in. And there she is. So here I can choose my permissions level. I can make her a list owner, or I can just give her editing options, and I'm going to hit Save. And a box pops up. Linda got an email notification letting her know that she's now able to access this list. So if at any point down the line, if Linda wants to copy this list into her own course, she'll be able to. She doesn't need access to my Blackboard Learn course shelf. She can just copy directly from Leganto. Okay. We're going to close out of that. Just drawing your attention briefly to this banner. This purple banner is just confirming that you're in draft mode. Nobody can see what you're working on, and they won't be able to see what you're working on until you hit this button over here. We'll come back to that later. Okay, so now here we have our sections that we chose earlier. Again, if you have decided after you set up your list that you want to change something, you absolutely can. Click here, Manage Sections. So after I click Manage Sections, if I hover over the heading for each section, I can drag it. So if I want to put week 1 down here, I can. And then if I come over here to this little hamburger menu and click, I can also, there are many options among which are delete section. Okay, let's say I want to delete section 1. Okay, so again, you can set up your term weeks, and then if you change your mind after the fact, you can just delete them all. It's up to you. Now, having deleted week 1, let's say I changed my mind and I want to add it back. So I'm going to come here to the add button, and I'm just going to ask you to ignore all this up here for now. Come down here to new section. Okay, so then I'm going to type in week 1, can type in any additional information that I would like here. Note down here that the default placement of the new section is at the bottom of the list, but that's week's 1. So I want to put it at the top of the list, and I'm going to hit add. And there's my week 1, just like I never deleted it. So easily done. Okay. All right. So just one more point, 2 more points actually. First, there's nothing to see right now, but once you have your items listed here, if you have quite a long list and you only want to see some things, you can either search for items within your list, or you can filter by due date if you choose to use this option. Tags, if you choose to tag your items, type, so book, article, that sort of thing, material type, and then status. Is the item completed? If you only want to see things that are in process, you can take a look at that there. Okay, so over here on the right-hand side of the screen, there are a couple of additional things that I want to draw your attention to. The first is this Discuss with Library feature. By clicking this tab, you can send us a message directly through Leganto if you're working on items, adding things, and you can't find something or you need help with something. Say, for example, I couldn't find this book, and then you can add additional information and hit send. Library staff will be notified in Leganto and will follow up with you. And you can see up here, if we respond, this is where so this is like a very fancy chat box, basically. So if we respond, this is where our response will show up. And you'll see a 2 once we do that. Okay, this is our student engagement tab. Unfortunately, there isn't much there now because we don't have any students. But as your students begin to engage with the material that you add here, you'll be able to see both overview information as well as item-specific information. Okay. And then for faculty members who decide to make use of the due dates feature in Leganto, you can take a look here to see what the upcoming due dates are. Students will also have access to this feature as well. If they want to get a quick snapshot of, oh, what do I have to read this week? They can also use this feature. Okay. So that takes us to the end of our tour of the course. So at this point, I'm going to turn things over to Linda Sadusky, who's going to take you over how to place some of the more commonly requested items. Linda, take it away. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And you're muted, Linda.
So there you go. Okay. Alrighty. So first I'm going to go into the course that Catherine very nicely made me a collaborator of. So I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to go into it, right into the reading list that she got. Okay, here we go. All right, so to add items, our recommendation, first of all, is to use the Drexel Libraries Dragon Search. And for those who don't know what that is, that's our discovery search tool for resources, which includes books, articles, databases, library guides, and research collections. And this includes items that Drexel owns, but it also includes items that we don't own. So I'm going to go into Add, and I'm going to select Add Items using Drexel Libraries Dragon Search. And this will take you to the search box. And you'll note that it's already set for Search Everything. And this box is also checked for include print books, DVDs, and other items without online versions available. These are our defaults, and these are the ones that we recommend using, but you can use the drop-down box to search just the library catalog of things we own if you like to do that. but for the demo, we're going to leave everything as is. The first thing I'm going to add is an article from one of our electronic journals. And you can use keyword searching or exact title searching. And I'm going to use exact title searching. Now, this is an article from the Lancet Journal. So once it comes up, I will go down and see the one that I want. And here it is. As you can see, it is available full text. So you just hover over it and you'll see this plus sign. So I'm just going to click on the plus sign. And the first thing that comes up, for some reason, my box is not working. Okay, you will see that you can select 2 items here. If you want to add it to your reading list, that's the default. And we'll talk about the favorites later. The next thing that you can select is what week you want this reading for. And I'm going to leave it at week 1, but you can select any week that you want. And then I'm going to click on the add button. Now, because this is an electronic journal, there's nothing else that we need to do, and it automatically will become linked and available to your students. I'm going to close this out so you can see what it looks like in the reading list. And here you go. You can see that there's a view online link, and it's already set up for that. Okay, the next item I'm going to add is an ebook. Again, I'm going to search using the title. So we're going to select this one. It says full text is available. So we're going to hit the plus sign again. Again, you can see that you can choose whether or not to add it to your reading list or favorites and choose what week. I'm just going to click add. And again, it automatically did the link. And here it is. And you can access it by viewing online. The next item I'm going to do is say instead of the whole ebook, you just want a chapter from it. So you can either search keyword searching, or if you know the exact title of the chapter, you can just type in the exact title of the chapter. Okay, this is the one I wanted. Just click on the plus sign again. And again, you can have your choice of adding it to your list and what week you want it for, and click add. And again, since it's available electronically, there it is. And the link is already there. But say you wanted a book chapter from a print book. We can do that too. Now, since we may not know the chapter title from a print book, I'm going to start off by searching for the exact book. Okay, so this is the book that I want. Just want to click add. Again, you have your choices of add to list and the week you want it for. Click add again. And here is where you have your choice. Look on to knows that you've added a physical item. It will give you a choice of whether to purchase the ebook version of it or to scan to have us scan a chapter from it. And we're going to use that part. And I'm going to split this chapter, the pages down, and hit OK. And I'm going to close so you can see what that looks like. And here you go. And because you wanted a chapter from the book, here is a tag that will alert reserves team that we need to scan the chapter from the book and add it to your reading list. All right, so the next item I'm going to do is a streaming video from a DVD. And I'm just going to search for one of our DVDs. Yeah, and I'm going to hit plus. Again, your choices of a list or week, what week you want. Click add. And this time, it knows it's a physical DVD and that we'll want to stream it. So we're going to select stream the physical DVD. And I'm going to hit OK. And again, close that so you can see what it looks like. And there's a tag, stream physical DVD, that will alert the reserves team to stream it. The next item I'm going to say that you want something that the library doesn't own. So I'm going to click add items. Do a search for a book. Okay. This is the book that I want. I'm going to hit plus. Again, your choices are added to the list. And the week that you want it for, click add. Now you'll see that it knows that we don't own this, so it gives you these choices, and you have your choice of either purchasing the ebook or purchase the physical item and add it to reserves. You can also have pages scanned from it once we purchase it. For this, I'm going to select purchase the ebook, and I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to close this so you can see what that looks like. And here you go. Here's the book, and the tag is acquire electronic item, and that will alert us that we need to buy it. All right, the next thing is, say you want something that's in our regular collection moved to reserves. We can do that too. And you just search for that title. Okay. I'm just going to choose I know we have this in print too, so I'm going to choose that one. Okay. And as you can see, it's currently in the temporary health science collection, and we want it moved to reserves. So you just hit the plus sign. Again, your choices are the same. You click add. And this time you can say, I would like to place the book at the reserves desk, and hit OK. Let's close this. And again, you can see there's a tag saying move to course reserves, and reserves team will then go to the stacks and pull the book and put them on reserve for you. Okay, that's all I have for you. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and pass it back on to Catherine, who can show you some more stuff.
Thank you, Linda, for that very thorough demonstration. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to keep chugging along. All right, here we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is just go through the rest of the options on this add menu. Okay, so option directly below add items using Dragon Search is add from favorites. Now, as you saw when Linda was demonstrating how to place requests, if you would do a search for items, you have an option not only to add to a list, but also to your favorites. So for example, let's say I do a search for media literacy. And while I'm adding items for a specific course that day, as I'm going through my search results, I realize that wow, maybe this is an item that I don't want to use for this course, but maybe in the future I want to use it. I'm just going to select a random book and I'm going to hit add to favorites. And I'm going to hit add. Okay, cool. So then later, as I'm working on course reserves for that course, I can hit add from favorites and I can choose whatever item I selected. So we'll just see, you can see I've added a couple of other items here. I'm going to hit add. And again, this time I'm going to hit add to list and I choose the correct week or whatever week that you would like, /section, and I'm going to hit add. And there you go. So it's added just like you had searched directly for that item. So that's add from favorites. So let's come down here to upload files. Let's say that in addition to wanting to provide access to articles and ebooks and videos for your students, you also want to upload your syllabus. So by clicking upload files, you'll be taken to this very simple file upload screen, at which point you're going to click to browse for a file. And here, let's just say, here's my syllabus, open. And you see that the system automatically identifies the document type as well as the title of the document from your computer. Now note that any file that you upload will go through a copyright review process. The more information that you provide us about the item, the quicker the copyright review process will be. So in addition to this information up here, you can see that you'll be asked to select the copyright status of the item. Use your best judgment. If you're not sure, that's totally fine. You can always select this second option. I would like the library to review this resource and we will do it for you. That will happen anyway. But for this item, it's a syllabus. I wrote it. I'm going to hit no declaration. We're just asking you to confirm what the status of the item is. We'll just say, oh, I want this available to the end of the term. And it's 2 pages. And I'm going to hit next. If there's any additional information that you would like to add, you can. And choose an appropriate week for the item and hit add. And there it is. Again, you can see once it's approved, students will be able to download this item directly. Okay, moving on, add using DOI or ISBN. Let's say you already have your syllabus ready. You don't need to search for more items. You have all the ISBN and DOI information as part of the citation right there. So you don't have to add items using Dragon Search. You can, again, just look specifically for an item using the DOI or ISBN information. So the first thing that you do if you click that option is just tell the system which one you're looking for, DOI, and then you enter the DOI. And I have previously entered one in there, a little cheat sheet for me. And so I'm going to hit next. And again, the system thinks that it's found the DOI that I want. So what it's going to do is just ask me to confirm that the DOI was in fact for the article that I am seeing right now. I'm going to hit next. There is, again, just confirming what the citation information is. Choose a week. And hit add. Done. And so there it is. Okay, moving on. For those of you who do any work with citation reference managers, you can also use those resources to populate your reading list, your list of items. So by hovering over this drop-down list, I have a couple of options. From a file, if I click this, you'll see the file it's looking for is a file from a citation manager. So it's looking for specific file types here. Or in addition to exporting from the citation manager and then re-uploading here, the system does integrate a little bit more closely with Zotero for those of you who use Zotero. Unfortunately, right now, the system doesn't integrate with EndNote, but that is on the roadmap. So hopefully that feature will be implemented soon. But for now, it's just Zotero. Now, for the purposes of this demonstration, I have already hooked my Zotero account up with the system. But if I hadn't done that and I wanted to, I could come over here to this gear icon and click Reference Managers. And it will do a little bit of loading, and it will tell me that I have connected my Zotero account to the system. If I hadn't, it would prompt me through that process. So it will give you directions for where to find all of the appropriate information that is needed to link your Zotero account to the system. And once you've done that, you can just, again, come straight over here to import references, and Zotero will show up on the list. And you will see here all of your Zotero options. So I'm going to just add this, and I want to add it to week 1. There we go. Okay, great. Then finally, we have here add items not in Dragon Search. So I'll start by saying that this is a modified version of that DOI or ISBN option. But let's say that while Dragon Search has all sorts of wonderful resources from all sorts of different databases and catalogs from all over the world, it doesn't have everything, right? So let's say I've done a search for something and I couldn't find it in Dragon Search, right? So in that situation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here to add items not in Dragon Search. And again, in this situation, you're trying to add an item. You already know what it is. You have the citation information. It's just not in Dragon Search. So let's say, for example, I want my students to read this book. This very important scholarly resource. Behind every great woman is a great cat. Now, you're never going to believe it, but it's not in Dragon Search. So what I can do is I can tell the system, okay, I want to add a book. And I type, and in addition, I will just briefly show you that there's all sorts of different resources that you can add here, right? But for this example, I'm going to choose book, and then I'm going to type in the title of the book. Okay, next. There are many different fields that you can fill out here. You'll notice that the only one that's required is the ISBN, though. And the reason for that is when we have the ISBN number, then we can automatically check, do we have this book? Do we have it online in print? All of this information that you see here, it's not necessary to type it in if we have the ISBN. If you don't know the ISBN, you can just put NA or I don't know. It doesn't check to make sure it's valid. I will say that putting a valid ISBN value in this field will make the request processing go much, much quicker. But I understand that sometimes you just don't have that information, so you can just, again, put it whatever you need to in that field. Okay, hit next. Okay, so choose a section just like before, information for students, and hit add. So again, because I've put the ISBN number in the field, it can automatically tell me we don't have this book. So what do I want to do? I want the libraries to purchase an ebook or purchase a physical book and add it to reserves. And there we go. Okay, again, because I've entered the ISBN information, the system was able to pull additional information about the book, including the book cover right here. And again, it's assigned it to acquire a physical item. Okay. All right, so that takes us to the end of different options, different ways that you can add items to your list. We have added all of the different items that we want to for this course, and now we're ready to submit it. We want our students to have access to the online items, and we want to submit these requests that need processing to the library. I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to hit my list is ready. So you can see published. We'll follow up with more information about any outstanding requests. So if you weren't able to find the ISBN, we'll follow up and ask for more information, so on and so forth. And again, as you're processing, as you're going through, and you did find an item that you wanted to add, you couldn't find it in Dragon Search, you looked all over and you didn't know what the ISBN number was, you can just let us know here. I was looking to add behind every great woman, ... Don't know ISBN. Cool. All right. So there we go. And that's it. Then you're done. You just have to sit and wait. Then you just wait for the library to do their great work and finish processing the requests. A couple of final things before we finish our demo today. First, let's say that you find yourself in the unfortunate situation where your students report having clicked a link in your list of items and gotten an error page. We do our best to make sure that access to our resources are available, but sometimes sometimes things go wrong. So what can you do? Of course, you can absolutely continue to just email reserves@drexel.edu, and a reserves team member will help you directly. But in addition to that avenue, you can also report the problem directly through Leganto by hovering over the problem item in question, right? Let's just say it's epilepsy in adults, and we're going to click full details. Now you can see there's a number of different ways that you can access this item, right? But let's say the problem was this Elsevier Science Direct journals. It's the first link. And so that's the one that the system will most likely use when you click view online. But it's broken, it's not working. So if you hover over, you can see there's a mark as broken option. When you click it, it will ask you to provide a little bit more information. The more information about the problem that you can give us, the better. You can say, sends me to an error page. If you've taken a screenshot, you can add the screenshot here and hit confirm. Now, in the meantime, if you don't want students to be able to click this link, you can hit hide link. What this will do is just hide it for this particular course. It won't hide it for everybody. Now, the library staff, having received that alert, will take a look and follow up if they have any more questions for you to help us solve the problem. And then finally, I want to draw your attention to this little help icon up here. So what this does, but clicking this link does is just drop a menu of different tutorials for you. So these are the most commonly these are the most common processes in Leganto. There are links to articles and videos, and then clicking out will take you to the vendor site, right, where they have developed a pretty robust set of documentation. Of course, you absolutely do not have to use these. If you have any questions about how to use the system, you are more than welcome to reach out to the reserves team, and we're happy to help you. But if you're the sort of person who prefers to give it a shot yourself or to read through the documentation, this is open access. Everybody has access to this. So if you are just the sort of person who loves documentation, you're welcome to take a look at this. And of course, if you prefer a video, you can go out to the video. These are all on YouTube, I believe. Okay, and that takes us to the end of the things that we wanted to cover today. So I'm going to keep sharing my screen just in case anybody wants a closer look at something or has a question about something that I can go through together with you guys today. And let's see, Stacy, do you mind reading off what questions have come through in the chat?
Yep, no problem. Let me just pull them all up and scroll up so we get to the beginning. All right, the first question was, what if you want to use a textbook for the whole 10-week course?
Okay, so that shouldn't be a problem. I think that's going to be what happens by default. So as soon as you add this, it should stay available to your students through the end of the term. Ashley, did you want to add something to that?
Yes, briefly. So what I was thinking is what you could do is you could also add your own section and title it full term if you want, and then add the item there that way. And you can place that section at the very top so that students know it's going to be used throughout the term.
Oh, thanks, Ashley. I think I misinterpreted the question. Yeah. Again, you can add additional sections, like even though the default setting is just 10 weeks, if you want to add, for example, a finals week, right? Or, during the fall term, we have week 9A and week 9B. You can definitely come down to week 9 and split week 9 into week 9A and week 9B. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you. Good question.
Ready for the next one then?
Let's do it.
How much notice do you need to scan a chapter from a book?
I think it depends on the time of the term. Most of the time, and I'm going to defer to the people who actually do the processing. I'm not trying to jam them up, but it's usually like within a couple of days we can get things turned around. But if you are placing your request at the busiest time of the term, all the faculty members are placing these requests, it's going to take a little bit longer. So I would say a week at the longest. Does that sound right, Ashley, Linda?
Yeah, we get the longest. Liz, right now we've got 3 people on the team monitoring the account 7 days a week. So right now it's actually would be pretty quick. I would say like give us 24 hours notice and it should be okay. But again, take that with a grain of salt because we're still also getting used to this new system. But once we've got all of this sort of under our belts, it should be pretty quick.
All right, thank you. Next question.
Can the favorites list be shared with collaborators?
Good question. I don't think so, but let me follow up with our rep and get a firm answer. And Stacy, can you share who said that question? We'll follow
Catherine.
up with you. Yeah.
Catherine,
Yep, I can. I'll save the chat.
Oh,
it
sorry.
was
Hold on.
me.
Sorry.
It was me. Thanks, Catherine. It's Danica Emery from CNHP.
Hello.
Yeah, that's gonna. Hi.
Mhm.
Yeah. We'd like to know that. Yeah, definitely, because there's some courses and curricula that we're sharing across. So it would be helpful if we could do that. Build a list and then kind of cherry pick what we need from the list. Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. Shared
Ready?
favorites.
One?
Yep. Mhm.
Okay. Is the preference from Drexel that our syllabus is here versus in Learn?
So Drexel has no preference. Again, this is a service that is meant to make teaching easier. I will say the reason that is shared with me from faculty members about why they choose to use Course Reserve services are, again, the links. We can sort of steward the links or any resources that you add. There's a copyright review. And then we do provide streaming and digitization services, but Drexel has no preference.
The next question was, can more than one student use an ebook at the same time?
Good question. That's going to depend on the license for that item. Some ebooks have what we refer to as unlimited seats. It means that as many students who want to read the book at the same time can do so. Other books, we're going to be limited based on honestly pricing as well as what options the vendor who owns the right to the ebook makes available. So sometimes it will be one student at a time, sometimes it will be 3 students at a time. And like I said, sometimes it's unlimited. I will say as much as possible, as much as we are able to do so, we do try and provide unlimited access so we can have many simultaneous users. But that's going to be the case regardless of whether you link to the ebook through Course Reserves or provide a direct link to your students.
Right. The next question, does a 10-week term include the exam period? Do you need to assign by week? And can you download and print in more options?
A good question. Again, while this is the default setting, you are not tied to this whatsoever. You can choose to so first, it does not include finals week. Sorry, I should answer the question first. But again, you can, while the finals week isn't included in the default set because, usually finals week doesn't have required readings at that point, you can absolutely add a finals week. You can choose not to use the term week breakdown at all if you don't want to. Again, when we were setting it up, I showed you that there is also a required/optional organization. Again, if you do decide to use term weeks at the beginning and you change your mind, you can delete all of these, just I'll just choose one that doesn't have any items. By coming here and hit delete section, you can just delete everything and then add your own under here. And we'll add it to the bottom. It's very customizable. Mm-hmm. Did I forget anything? Did that answer the whole question, Stacy? Oh yeah, right. Download and print things out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so if you come here under this, if you click this hamburger button over here, you have a couple of options. You have many different options, right? You can view as student, lock the list. If you're the list owner and you don't want anyone else to add things, you can hit lock. Unpublish the list. If you change your mind and you don't want students to see this list, you can hit unpublish. And then you see if you hit unpublish, then this little bar will appear again. And if you decide to publish again, you can hit my list is ready and go from there. Oops, sorry. And then down here, again, you have options to export your list or to print your list. If you just completely decided to change everything and everything that you submitted was wrong, you can hit delete list and that will delete the entire list. And then you can start from that main page. Let's say, for example, you hit create a list and then you realize, oh, I already have a list set up from another course. I don't need this list. You can come here and hit delete list, which will take you back to that first page that I showed you. And then you can select copy a list instead of create a list at that point. So yes, you can absolutely. And if you export it, here are your options, PDF, Excel. Again, if you want to export your reading list and then upload it to your citation management system, you absolutely can do so. What options do you want? And then you can hit export.
All right. All good there?
Mhm.
Great. Then the next question is, for those of us who have had prior course reserve items added by the library, 1, why are some there and others are not? And number 2, how do I create the week format that you're showing? Mine are all in a single section.
Okay, good question. So this is a migration question. So we did our best to migrate everything that has been requested in the last 4 years, as well as sandbox/master term classes. So if you're looking for anything prior to 4 years, it was not migrated. Now, why did we only migrate the last 4 years? It was a feasibility amount of data question. That was the amount of time that we felt struck a balance between being able to migrate everything successfully and also migrating everything that faculty members want. Now, we do still have access. Aries is still around. So if you have courses that are pre 4 years ago, just let us know and we can help you get those set up in the new system. It's not a problem. Additionally, anything that was submitted after the cutoff for migration, which was, I believe, mid-February, was not migrated into the new system. Again, contact the reserves team. We'll help you get anything that's not in the new system copied over. It's not a problem. And then what was the other part of the question, Stacy?
How do I create the week format that you're showing? Mine are all in a single section. So like week 1, week 2.
Got it. So again, that is unfortunately a limitation of the migration, right? Everything got copied over in one lump. But what you can do is, again, once you have this one section where it should just say resources or something like that, and you're on this page, you just hit add a new section, just like I showed you. And then once you have it set up, so let's say, again, everything is going to be in one section, right? And again, please contact the reserves teams if you need help with this, right? You can click here and let's say I want the students to read Behind Every Great Woman is a Great Cat. I wanted them to read it in week 2. There you go. Just click and drag to the appropriate week. Ashley, did you want to add something?
Yeah, just to the prior question, some of you may have also, like if you're here right now, may have gotten an email from me yesterday, and we are still in the process of transferring over everything that was added after February 19th to the new system. It's not done yet. I know that we're coming down to crunch time, but just as an FYI, there was about 77 faculty members that created a course in Aries for spring. And so we're working still to get all of those items, but it will be there by April 1st. I promise you that.
Thanks, Ashley. Okay, so I just want to say that I do see that there are some hands raised. We'll get to your questions. We're just going to work our way through the chat.
It's an expansion of what you just answered. 'Cause that was-
My
My course is definitely less than 4 years old, and I can't figure out. I mean, at the present moment, I'm looking at going item by item to try to figure out which 4 items are missing, which is not ideal. Do
Absolutely.
you have an idea of which ones maybe didn't get migrated for some specific, if there's a category of items that are not getting migrated or what I could expect, that would be very helpful to save me some time.
Absolutely. So I'm so sorry to hear that there are a couple of things that could have happened. One, if you've ever had an instructional designer help you set up your courses, it's possible that, okay, I see you shaking your head, but for those of you who have had instructional designers help you, it's possible that the instructional designer ended up with your course because the way the Blackboard and this system isn't smart enough to know that the person who added the items is not the same as the faculty member. It's possible that your instructional designer will have to help you out. If you've never had anybody else help you with your courses, it's only ever been you setting up your course reserves, adding them, and you're still not seeing everything there. We migrated everything with some very small exceptions that I don't think are going to apply to you. Canceled items, and items that we were not able to get copyright clearance for. But again, those are items that you should have already known that there were problems with those items and not expected them to be copied. If you're not sure, contact reserves@drexel.edu and we'll help you figure out what's going on. Okay, cool.
Thanks.
I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but I'm just going to keep saying contact reserves@drexel.edu. We have a team here. We'll help you out, you know?
I feel bad because you guys were so lovely in sending documentations on how to do stuff, but it seems that most of my issues are migration, duplication issues, which are not in any of those documentations. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate your time. Thanks.
And, you know, I'm just going to say that I really appreciate everybody's patience. I don't know how many people here have been through a migration before. We worked really hard. We did our best to make sure everything would transfer appropriately, but it is what it is, unfortunately. So we're going to do our best to clean things up, to help you find anything that you can't find, and make sure that your reserves are in good order for your students. Okay, next question.
All right, so if the library already added spring term under Aries, do I add Leganto before deleting the Aries list? I'm similarly confused because my course seems to have them in both spots.
Yes, correct. So we are going to keep Aries available in a read-only format, so available to your students and available to you throughout the course, throughout the spring term. And the reason for that is because we realize that asking faculty members, every single faculty member who uses Aries, to get everything set up and copied over into Leganto in a very short period of time is just not feasible. So for those of you who have Aries set up for the spring term, those items will be available to your students for the spring term. Now, we highly recommend that you spend the spring term getting Leganto set up and getting things copied over, but Aries will be available to your students. Everything that you see in Aries right now will be there. So yes, and for some faculty members, you will see some items are in Aries as well as in Leganto, because everything that we copied over from Aries to Leganto will be in both places. But it will be up to you, for faculty members who do have course reserves in both of those systems, which one you use for the spring term. But, you know, June 14th comes around and there will not be that option will no longer exist. You'll be expected to have migrated fully over to Leganto at that point. So again, the Aries will be running alongside of Leganto for the spring term, but we really are encouraging faculty members to use Leganto so that everything is set up and ready to go by the end of Aries end of life, which is June 14th.
Then the next question, if you select required and optional instead of using terms, are we able to divide by week? For example, required and optional for week 1, required and optional for week 2, et cetera, et cetera.
So I don't think that you can nest structure that way. But what you can do is, again, just assuming that you chose required and optional. Why don't I just do it this way? Let's just say that week 3 is your required. So if you hit edit section, I could do, if you use the term breakdown, you could do week 3 required, for example, right? And hit save. And then if you wanted to add a week 3 optional, you could hit new section, week 3, optional. And then you choose where you put it. You want it to go after week 3 required, and you head add week 3. Where did it go? Oh, goodness. So here, I don't know why it went up here, but what you can do then is just click and drag it to where it should go. So here you go. So week 2, week 3 required, week 3 optional. So yes, short answer, yes, you can, but that's a customization that you would have to do on your own after you create your course.
What is the difference between the collaborator options, owning versus editing privileges?
So the difference is what you're able to do up here. So if you can, let me just come up here and just show you. Okay. So the difference between list owner and can edit list is an editor can add items and delete items, but they can't make any changes to the list information, right? So they couldn't come up here and unpublish your list, or they couldn't do any of these things on this list, basically. They couldn't delete it, that sort of a thing.
Does this list transport over from the current shell to a new BB shell the next time it is taught? Can it be exported to a different course?
So good question. The answer right now is no. Right now, the way that, at least for this term, the way that this system will work the same way that Aries did, which is if you want to copy this list over into a new term, you will go into the new course shell for the next term, create the link to Leganto, and then on the first page, you will click copy a course, choose the course that you want. Let me see if I can actually just show you. Hold on. I'm going to delete our list. I'm going to click out of here. Click here. So I've deleted our list. So we're starting from scratch again. So instead of hitting new list, I'm going to hit create from an existing list this time. So here are all the other lists that I've created, right? And let's say I want to copy this list, and you can see this is from this term. So again, if you're using a master course shell, you can have your faculty members go in and they have access to it. And so you can see here, I have two options: link to this list and duplicate this list. So again, if you're teaching a master term course, your faculty members are going to want to link to this list, because that way you only have to update it in one place, and then it will just be updated in all of the other places. But if you want to create your own special version, you can hit duplicate. And you can just see it's creating a new list. It's copied, hit. So here you go. Here are all of the options from my other test course, right? So that's how you would do it right now. Now, I will note that we're working with ITG and DUIT right now to set up a system that will do this automatically, right? So we'll be able to, once we have, and the problem is just getting course information into the system. We don't have access to that course information right now, so we can't do anything on our end. But once we get that feed set up, we'll be able to copy things over for you. So short answer is you're going to do it pretty much the same way that you do with Aries right now, by manually copying things over into your new course. But we hope in the near future to have a new service available wherein we can just do this automatically for you. Cool. Did I answer the whole question? Sorry, I got a little distracted. I'm not sure if I hit everything.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, great.
But maybe I'm not the one to answer. But I do see it's 11 o'clock. There's a few questions that have been unanswered. We can respond through email if that's better, if people need to leave.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Okay. All right, then I will email Catherine the questions. I'll send you all of them, and we'll make sure that we get the answers out to everyone along with the recording.
Wonderful. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Thank you so much. You are a lovely audience. You asked really great questions. Again, I'm a broken record. Contact reserves@drexel.edu. Whatever your question is, will help you. Thank you for your patience through this migration process. I understand that it can be overwhelming and frustrating. We share your frustration. Thank you so much. And thank you again for supporting Reserve Services. We really appreciate it. Okay.
Very much.
Everyone.
Bye, everyone. It was great seeing everybody. Bye-bye.